Wah, 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 wah. Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age story. I'm MysteriousJG. So, I've done a little bit of off-screening. Just grinding up levels on the Goyles. Was it really 2:49 in the morning, or is this clock just way off? It might have been 2:49 in the morning, yikes. I was like, you know, didn't have to work the next day. I think I just stayed up late grinding for levels while watching riff tracks. It's an exciting life, I know. But another thing that I managed to do was I found out through the magic of the Final Fantasy Wikia that you could get embroidered tippets as a rare poach from Corals, but only at the Highlands, which is where we are. And I actually was grinding for a while and not getting any, and then I finally got, like, because I found one in a treasure chest. Hold on, this will take a little explaining. So, all the way in the South China Seas, or the shores of Waikiki, all the way back, I was trying to find a good place to grind where I would get a good enemies that are fairly easy with decent experience drops, and I tried the Fey Woods for a while because the story didn't require us to go here yet, and eventually there's a path south from here that we will need to take that is currently blocked by story. But while wandering around here, I actually found a non-respawning treasure chest at this actual location, Antiquity's End, which dropped an embroidered tippet. And I already had one, and I hadn't really been using it because I've been trying to keep people fairly evenly leveled. And as a result, I didn't have much use for one. So now I had two, and I'm like, at first I thought it might be a recurring treasure chest, but then I found out that it wasn't. And so I was like, oh, shoot, when am I going to get another one? This would really make grinding for levels a lot easier if I had three, because I could just have all three characters who are currently in party getting experience, getting double. And I found out that the Corals in the Titch to Uplands only will really drop it. So I went around messing with gambits. I had Fran casting Gravity, which does 25% of your maximum hit point damage, which means that it can kill enemies. It's not just perfect for whittling them down to almost nothing. So, like, I had a set of gambits, which I've since gotten rid of, where Ash never attacked enemies. Fran would cast Gravity on them, and then she and Penelo would try to poach them. But I was having a hard time getting their hit points quite low enough. And then I had this idea where I would cast Sap and poach, and eventually I found a combo which, with the high-speed button pressed and Ash casting Asuna on her party members a lot, because they kept getting hit with negative status ailments, I eventually got to where I've got enough embroidered tippets for, well, you don't really need more than 3. I ended up with 4 in total, and I think I'll get another one before the game is over from a treasure chest, which means there may come a point where I actually want to do this again to get one more embroidered tippet so that everybody can equip them, and I don't even have to worry about remembering to switch accessories when I change party members, but really that's kind of wasteful. Another thing I did off-screen is I actually tried 2 of the optional boss fights that are available to us now. You're not really necessarily expected to do both of them now. And I think they're both doable, so what I want to actually do in this video is attempt those boss fights. But first of all, we're going to need to do some... We're going to need to do a little bit of customization. So now that I've fought both of these bosses, I kind of know what the deal is with both of them. And I'll tell you one thing, I think what I've discovered is that there is a field effect for most of the Esper fights. Or something. Oh, shoot. This is going to be annoying. Sorry. My laptop screensaver just kicked on because my regular method of the video that I'm always using as my timer seems to be down. So now I'm just using the laptop's stopwatch function, but that actually doesn't prevent the screensaver from kicking in. So, oops, this is an annoying thing I'm just discovering on screen. Anyway, yeah, but I think most of these optional esper fights are going to have some kind of a special deal going on where there is some kind of... Oh, Black Mass could be really... I wonder if that absorbs gravity attacks. I don't think it does. I'm actually pretty sure it doesn't, because if it did, one of the fights that I did off screen would have gone way easier. But, yeah, like we fought an enemy that had, like, one of the plot ones that we fought had a special effect in place. I think it was magnetic effect, where, like, you were slowed down if you used metal equipment. I think there might be other ones. But, yeah, these two both have some kind of... Now, I know about it. There's no point pretending I don't. There is, like, a constant effect going on in... with one of these enemies that we're going to be fighting, there is a constant sap/HP drain effect. And equipping things that make you immune to sap doesn't actually help, because it's a field effect. There's another one we're going to be doing where there is all magic commands are locked. So you can use items for healing. You can use summons and your mist charges to do quickenings, but you can't actually do magic attacks. And that turns out to be... really impacts what strategies you're able to use. But at any rate, what I want to actually do before we continue the story is just... And, you know, if you're able to keep up with all optional content and hunts as you progress through the story, the main story generally isn't that challenging. Because if you're strong enough to handle all the hunts, you're strong enough to handle the main story. But what I would like to do is get the 2 espers that we can actually currently get that are optional at this point before we go to the Imperial capital. Excuse me. Like I said, I've already goofed around with this off screen, so I should be able to make quick work of the puzzles that you need to solve to get to one of these espers. I enjoy Final Fantasy XII's world more than I remembered having enjoyed it when I played this on the PS2 years ago. Because I feel like I say it almost every video, but a big issue with the old PS2 game was that there's so much backtracking through stuff you've already seen that when you're doing it at this speed, with no ability to make it go any faster, you start to resent it in a way that you don't when you can just skip through if you feel like it. But like going back to Lowtown over and over and over again for stuff when the story no longer has any connection to Lowtown can be annoying. So, Gambit-wise, do we have the Gambits that I want? Because I switched stuff up. Cura, haste, and attack. I don't think we'll need to use the guys for this. The girls should be able to handle it more or less. Although, just to be on the safe side, let's be ready. Sorry, I suddenly stopped all talking. So, somewhere along the line, we got a key item which allows us to actually manipulate these things in a way that we could not before. And in fact, one of them is activated, but if we tried to do anything with these before, it told us it was locked. But now we can unlock them. And I'll explain how the puzzle works, kind of, sort of, maybe, but I ended up kind of shortcutting to see how it was supposed to be done, but I had the general idea. You have these sluice gates that you can open or close. Closing them will prevent water from draining into this area, which will, I guess, lower the water level. But as you just saw, you can only activate 2 at once. So we've got 4 to work with here, but activating these 2 together opens up paths farther down on this side. We can get further down there than we would be able to otherwise because it's lowering the water levels all over on this side. The same thing happens if we lower these 2. We can go further down this way. And if any other combination just kind of leaves it to where we can't actually get all the way to the back on either side. So we lower the water level and then head for... As you can see, there normally would have been water blocking us here. If we had taken it down only 1 level, we'd have water blocking us there, but the real deal is that we can't get all the way down to ground level unless we hit those 2 that are both on the same side. If we just lower one part way down here, we can cross these little bridges, but we won't be able to get all the way down to the ground there. Which is poisoned horn, eh? Which is where we're actually going to have new and exciting shit that we couldn't do before. Or, reaching stuff we couldn't reach before. So we come all the way down here, and I think those are the actual sluice gates there. Those are closed, which means water can't flow in here. And it opens up our path to treasure like this. A jade collar. I believe we already had access to this. I don't think the jade collar is a big deal. But it is something that we probably doesn't repeat. It's like a, that accessory is always available here one time. That one may be one that repeats and can be different things. That one probably is too. But yeah, this is a little area we can get to that wouldn't have been available to us had we just opened any other combination of things. It had to be this specific combination because that's the sluice gate, and then that's the sluice gate that's controlling the flow. And you can even see if we come over here, well, there's all this water in the middle here. Ultimately, the objective of the puzzle is to drain the water that's below us right there. But that is not something that we are actually able to do without hitting some additional sluice gates that we couldn't even get to yet. Here, we can't go over to the other side, but if we could, if we look past here, you've got the mirror image of where we just were with the water drained, but the water won't be drained over there. So, you may be saying, okay, JG, this is all great, but, what the hell did you actually accomplish? You got a jade collar, who cares? It's not really a very great accessory. I wouldn't even venture to call it a successory. Well, what we actually got access to is this, the #1 South Waterway Control. And for whatever reason, we can only have 2 at a time, but this one doesn't count towards that too. And it is going to close Well, it says a sluice gate moves in the distance. I didn't bother to figure this out off screen, but now I would be curious if I can tell what closed. And that closed. Is that what closed? I think that's what closed. Maybe. Maybe that is what closed. Ooh. Playing the girls out of habit now that I off-screen leveled them up to be even with the boys, so I probably should give the boys a chance at some point too. Let's go ahead and get to this. This seems like some place that might have cool treasure at the end, because you have to go out of our way to get here. Or possibly that's not true at all, and there's nothing to do here. This place is a waste of your time. Yeah, I really don't care about you anymore, buddy. You keep respawning, that's fine. Well, I'm just trying to find what's the most straightforward path to get back where we need to go. There's a lot of 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other happening now. I suppose there is a way to get down there. I don't know if there's really cool treasure. Oh, probably trying to retrace his steps would tell us. There we go. Is there a point to exploring in here? Is it going to be... Problem, the way the treasure chests work in this game, you can never really tell if it's just like, oh, shitty luck, but I mean, there was a chance that could have been a really cool item. I don't know if it's just the Zodiac version that does this, or if it worked this way in the original game sometimes too, but there would occasionally be treasure chests that do not respawn and all... Oh. Well... Because I'm out of Penelo's range, so her Libra didn't show me the trap. Interesting. Okay. You never know when one of these traps or one of these treasures is going to be like a Hornito. I have no idea what a Hornito is. Hornito, Hornito, Hornito. What do ghillie boots do? Make you immune to oil, okay. Stink bombs. A Hornito is a type of bomb. Hand bomb 1, so it's not anything really super impressive, but yeah, that's the kind of thing. That chest probably doesn't reappear. And you probably always get a Hornito out of it. But yeah, when I off-screened this, I didn't actually bother to check any of that out, so I'm kind of glad I've been a little bit more systematic in my exploration. But as you may have guessed by this point, if I didn't already make it explicit, switching the sluice gates around so we can go to the mirror image side and find a sluice gate control on the mirror image side that is also accessible. That's going to go some way towards actually making it so that we can explore this place. Because the water level is so high over here now, we can't even cross those little paths. Much less get all the way down to look for treasure chests. But we activate everything over here. And again, I don't know that activating the two that are like sort of quote up front and the two that are like the farthest apart. I don't know that anything happens with that. I think you have to like really concentrate on getting one side low as you possibly can. But it looks like we are going to have a whole video's worth of this exploration. And that's fine. So, you could let the horned toad show us the path down. Or we could try to find it ourselves. Oh wow, that's actually leading us all the way back towards like a much earlier section of the dungeon. That was back when we were coming through here for plot reasons to get to the Royal Palace and advance story. Yeah, there's a Marlboro up causing trouble. The trouble it's causing is existing. I find that troublesome. Oh, you know what? I meant for this play session, because I actually found one and had it open, and then laptop restarted for updates, and I didn't bother to go re-find it. But I found a sort of IGN or some similar website's guide to loot and what you can and cannot sell with impunity, which I had all ready to go, but I did not bother to keep that available. So I'm wondering if there'll be something similar on this side of like a she will slowly but surely cast regen on everybody. Ash now has like a weird rando listing of white magic spells. Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. I was about to say, can you not hit that? It's going to be a sap trap, and they hit it. A guilt measure? It's probably a Whoppet of that weird class of on hit protect. Yeah, there's this weird set of weapons where I guess you use them to attack your allies. I never use them, but it seems like it could be interesting. And that would appear to be the aquarium mode. That would appear to be the main reason to bother with this zone. Zipping around once again. Ability to enjoy this zone greatly enhanced by the fact that once you've cleared the enemies and taken your time and explored, and now it's time to backtrack to an earlier point, you can do that fairly quickly. Who are you? Oh, I thought they were killing it with range. I guess they were technically, but obtained the dark crystal. It's a lot simpler for us than it was for those dumbass kids with the in the film, the dark crystal. The Skeksis. I was trying to remember the name of the Aminols. Man, you know, call me a massive geek, but Jim Henson, he did some good fantasy stuff over the years. I really enjoyed the Jim Henson Hour, where they brought back the Muppets, even though not enough people cared for it to really go anywhere. But they also did that, like, the storyteller deal. I love that show with this, like, Jim Henson would introduce it with this, like, Muppet lion. I love that show. I don't remember a single episode of it in any kind of detail. I just remember loving the idea that there was like a storyteller TV show on in prime time, like fucking family television. That's what we fucking need. We need some fucking family-friendly fucking television, motherfuckers. That was me being silly, but no, I was like, yeah, that's so cool. Tell Achilles he can take that big robot and shove it up his ass. Achilles, I believe, is a ability? Yeah. I believe this is something that all the bosses and enemies that would be worth using an ability on are going to be immune to. But it gives elemental weaknesses to stuff. That's something I probably won't get around to using because it'll just be too much work to like remember that I have that technique, but it's the kind of thing that I probably should be using. Prudent use of that could make certain fights much easier. You're just hacking away on shit that takes forever to kill because it doesn't have any kind of weakness you can exploit. Once again, it would seem like there'd be something cool to do on this path, but there isn't. But as we look off in the distance, we can see where we were traveling around way earlier in the story. When we had first met, I almost called him Bartello. When we first met Baltier and Fran, when Pinello had yet to be kidnapped. So we're going to open the sluice gate, and this will basically mean that we can get to the boss of this area, but we just have to go back and readjust where stuff's at sluice gate-wise one more time. Now, which one was that? I mean, maybe you're tracking it better than I am, but I wasn't quite able to figure that out. A lot of the guys want to get murdered over here. And I can tell they want to get murdered because they exist in an area where we do. Yeah, it looks like that is one of them. Wait a second, though. I'm not 100% sure. But it suffices to say that we activated on both sides the sluice gate we couldn't get to any other way. I wanted to say that that was one of them. But that maybe that one over there is one of them. Maybe not. Remember now. I'm confused. I'm not sure. But if we keep monkeying around with these sluice gates, maybe that's one. Maybe that's one. But if we keep monkeying around with these sluice gates, now we've got those two. Our objective is to drain that area right there. And I think, oh, well, see, there's a little zone we didn't go to. Which suggests that we didn't get there. The mirror image version of this we didn't get to either. Guys, would you... I don't have their gambit set up to be very effective against silence. Well, what is this? Drowned? I don't think I've ever encountered that enemy type before. Well, no matter. So you guys are doomed, huh? That must suck. Alright. We're over the 30-minute mark now, but I kind of wanted to deal with this, all this stuff. Maybe we did get the mirror image of this. But yeah, the only way I know of to deal with Doom right now is to let it run its course, so to speak. Let the girls die, and then revive them. 1 gil, huh? That sucks. Well, certainly it didn't seem like there was any really, really important treasures like you know on the first time you're going to get. It would have been nice if... Would have been kind of nice if, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's going to say if Fran died first, Penelo could have used revive. But, neither Fran nor Ash has raised. So either way, they were going to have to let, somebody's going to have to die. Or somebody was going to have to get... Ah, damn it, I didn't mean to go through there. Somebody was going to have to get revived by an item, because Penelo's the only one of these party member ladies who has... has raise. And one of the reasons I know I'm probably not really supposed to be taking on some of these bosses yet is... you know, you take a glance at the wiki for some strategy tips, because I'm not above doing that sometimes. And it tells you to cast spells we don't have access to, because we are not far enough in the plot to have acquired them. And that's when you're like, oops. Maybe we're trying to punch above our weights. Fighting above our weight class. So I think this is the only time we'd want these two, because that'll open up this zone. And I believe if I did this right, we should still be able to get back there. And we'll be able to take on one of the optional espers. So we'll have to see about that next time, folks. I'm MysteriousJG. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you'll tune in next time for more of Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age. Bye-bye.